So I now have the pleasure of introducing really, truly a legend in our industry. There are very few people that I get to introduce who I can honestly say literally changed how we do our jobs and what tech we use to do it. Andrew Cross is one of those. From the early days of new tech, but probably in many ways, the thing that we see the most today, every day, no matter what product you're using, is NDI. And so Andrew's going to talk about that journey today and how they invested and how long it takes for this kind of technology to become mature and get out in the world. It's a pretty interesting story. So with that, I'll pass it to you, Andrew.
Thanks, Dave. I'm going to talk about chapter 2. I realized when I started making slides about chapter 2 that it would be far more fun to actually start talking about chapter 1 first. And so I wanted to think back to the things in the past that we did that actually made a difference. And so with the benefit of hindsight, I want to go right the way back to when I started in this industry, which was when I graduated from my PhD in 1999 and got my first job. So this is me. And I'm a software engineer at heart, so that's software, right? And, I got out of university in England, if you can tell by the accent, and I'm like, I need a job. I'm a software engineer. And, it was really, really awesome. I got hired by a company called Newtek. A few of you might have heard about them. It's a big celebration. And I go to this company called Newtek who were building these things called video toasters and kind of cool stuff. And I knew nothing about the industry, nothing. And I kind of knew that the goal was to make stuff that goes onto TV. And so, this is my 8-bit art because this is 1999. TV was done in complicated ways. Typically, all the products, that made up TV in the year 2000 were made out of hardware. They had FPGAs and complicated stuff, things called resistors and capacitors and all diodes, like I don't know what, chips. And they were really, really expensive. So I didn't know anything about this industry. I worked for this company. I just got hired. I was happy. Got hired by Newtek. And then I learned that all this complicated stuff is done in hardware. And the problem is, I'm a software guy. So I'm the software guy working in an industry that is totally dominated by hardware and expensive stuff. So I went to my first NAB. And this is what everybody told me. Andrew, computers are far too slow to do real-time video on. Like, how on earth can you take a computer and actually process images on it in real time? Like, you need FPGAs to do this. You'd never, ever, ever trust Windows on air. Oh my gosh. What happens when the TV station goes down? Software is super unreliable. It crashes. Has things called memory leaks and Doom, really awesome. Kids play it. Like, what? Seriously, you're gonna run a TV station on this thing that my kids play games on? And then the other half of the world are doing boring office stuff, the first versions of Excel, spreadsheets. And like, Andrew, what are you, software guy, how are you gonna use this to make TV? No idea. But then we had an idea. Here is the bet we made. And it is super easy in hindsight to understand this bet. But you have to go back to the year 2000 and look forwards. Here was the bet. There's hardware, the traditional approach. There are thousands of TV stations in the world. And they update equipment every 5 years, every 10 years, something like that. But here is the bet. The bet is software is going to get driven by millions of users. There's going to be millions of users playing Doom. And computers are getting fast really quickly, aren't they? So people replace their computer every year. And if there's one thing I know is that the laws of economics are always going to win. And so the bet was that a market that was going to get driven by millions of people is always going to grow faster than the one that is driven by tens of thousands. And so this is me. Here's the thing. This is the bar you need to cross to make real-time video stuff. And we were not there. When I started, we were using 486s. You cannot do a lot in real time on a 486. But here was the bet. It takes years to build a product. And at the time it takes to build a product, things are going to happen. We're going to have computer games that are going to drive computers faster. Doom is going to. Even offices, they're going to invest in more computers. There's going to be, you know, the economics of the market are going to be such that in the time it takes to build a product, that, oh, I forgot, kind of important. We bet that networking would go from the thing that you built these token ring networks around to connecting everything together. And our bet was that even though it didn't work today, that in the time it took to build a product, that we would be able to build all of this and make it run in real time, even though it was impossible. And we did that. And, you know, that is how the video toaster was born. That's how TriCaster was born. That's how NDI were born. It was just based purely on those bets. The bet was that something that didn't work today, if you just look at where the economics of the market are going to go, that you win. And, you know, so the bet was that computers would grow faster with software. And all the things that everybody told me at my first NAB, this is why it will never work, but they will get solved where hardware will not. And so we take for granted today that we take this so much for granted today that this is what TV looks like. That you have these amazing virtual sets, that you have 3D stuff flying around on sports fields. None of that was possible before, and it was software that enabled this. And by getting out in front and understand what the economics that are going to drive a market are, you have this ability to build products that change the world because you're there first in a way that if you follow, they don't. So I'm going to show you some real numbers now that still blow my mind. This is the shipments of PCs starting in 1999. And exponential growth, right? Like anybody who talks to investors, they love stuff like this. It looks like there's exponential growth. And for most of the industry today, most of everything we're still doing here, we're looking at this rise in compute, this rise in the accessibility of computers, and we're using it to drive the decisions we make. You know, NDI was based on this. TriCaster, you know, like virtual sets, everything is based on this curve, and we're using it today. About 10 years ago, it's a little bit more now, Apple shipped this thing just down the road from here, the iPhone. And it started by selling a few. What's this? I'm now plotting the sales of the iPhone against the sales of desktop PCs. And, you know, I've not finished this curve yet, but obviously they beat desktop PCs. And so you now put this to scale, and this is what happened. And this is what happened to desktops. And we say that green curve a few slides ago, I showed you exponential growth, right? Does it look exponential anymore? What does look exponential today is what mobile technologies have done for the world. That's where the exponential growth is. So in 1999, here was the bet. And it's hard to fully realize this. We started building before it was possible. We knew where things was going. And that allowed us to build things that changed the shape of this industry today. And so here we are now. I'm actually onto the subject of my actual presentation. We're here in chapter 2. This is what the world looks like. It looks like this. We're still building in large part for that green curve. And I know one thing. It is that the laws of economics are always going to be what win out. That is because when you're driven by markets of now billions, that's how many cell phones are on the world, people work out how to make better displays, how to make them cheaper, how to make them faster. And the things that we need for our market, which is video, can piggyback on that. And so the question that I think every one of us, literally everyone in this room, in every field, needs to go off and ask is, first of all, what is the bar? Just like then, there was this bar, we're going to get to software. Today, it's not clear what the bar is. And if you're in production, you need to be thinking, where are the laws of economics going to take production? If you're in products, start thinking about what the products look like. Work out what is next. Think about the time it's going to take for you to get there. And if you can predict what that will be, you have this amazing opportunity to go and build what's next. Most of us are not doing that, but most of us know full well it's easy to look in hindsight and go, it's so obvious that computers were going to get faster, they were going to get driven by Moore's law. Everybody knew that 10 years before they became fast enough for real time. If you know that, you can build the products of the future that will shape the future. And I think today, we know so much, and what we have is amazing. Here is what every talk here is about. AI is solving things we didn't think were possible 5 years ago. Cameras, I gave my phone to somebody who's looking after it. It's got a 4K camera running on a battery that we walk around here with. That's amazing. That phone is interconnected with every one of you. Our phones all talk the same language and are connected to each other and to every website and cloud service in the world. It has a display on it that has smaller pixels than my eye, with my eyesight certainly, can see. And it's all cloud. We've got data centers that can process and store huge amounts of stuff. We have every ingredient. Like, if you think what all of that should enable, it is science fiction. We have every ingredient we need for what we would consider science fiction. We don't have the products that use it yet, though. It's still really, really hard. If I asked one of you to record a video of me presenting and send it me, you're going to have to go through 45 steps. It's not easy. You're going to have to upload it somewhere. You're going to have to get my email. Somebody's going to have to work out how to go and take all those ingredients and solve whatever is next. And there is this massive opportunity in every market to do that. And it is totally, totally driven by the laws of economics that are going to get us there. And we know what every piece is, and we've just got to go out and actually build it. So we have every ingredient. It's easy to look back and go, computers got faster. We managed to build this. We've got to go out and work out what's next. We've got every ingredient. We need to just plot the trends, and I know one thing, the answers are going to be given to us by the things that are driving volume, that are driving, and that will take us where we go next. That's what we all need to go do, all of us, in every market. And if we do that, we can absolutely build what comes next and what is chapter 2. So that's everything I've got time for. I hope that I'm 50 seconds left. Thank you.